Okay, so you're going to be using this entire video throughout the entire class. The first idea is with your warm-up, and maybe the sub in here can do this with you, or you have one of the math teachers in here, I'm not quite sure. But the idea is this is going to go in your notebook. I don't know off the top of my head what the page number is. We'll get that figured out when I see you guys again. It's still just, do you understand the slope and the y-intercept and what they mean? So this is about somebody and their height as time goes by. So what's the intercept for this graph? They do want to know what is the y-intercept for this graph. They didn't write that in there. And then what does it mean? For the slope, what's that constant rate of change? You will have to use these 2 points to figure out the slope. So I reminded you of the slope formula, fill in your numbers, and then divide it so that you get to 1, and then explain what that means. And you're going to know what it means because you should look at what the y-axis represents and what the x-axis represents. And then once you know your y-intercept and your slope, you can write your equation here, okay? So fill that out. We'll talk about it. Again, maybe you have a math teacher in here and you guys can talk about it together. But keep this in your notebooks. You will be stapling it in there later. So the next thing you're going to be working on is this yellow page from yesterday. We said it was going to go on page 159. You're going to be getting a new page that goes with it, and it looks like this. So what I want you to do first is finish up the yellow page. You should have these equations. So here's the example. And we did get the example set up so that it was ready to eliminate. I want you to finish solving it. No decimals. Then here was the second equation. So you should use the elimination again. So what I would suggest is you get both of these to be a 6. And since this is 6, or maybe this is the one we did together, then I'll make this one become a -6 by multiplying everything in here by -3. So finish this one. You will not have a decimal answer. And then your 2 equations from here. Again, what I would probably do is get the v's to be the same. I would get these both to be 4. So if this is going to be a 4, you'll want to make that to be a -4. And again, no decimal here. So after that, you are going to be going to the back and working through some problems, all right? So you're going to have this white page now that goes with it. If you don't think this is going to be enough space to do the math to solve the problem, then put the math on this page. But you're going to go through number 5. You're going to define your purpose. You're going to define your variables. Put your 2 equations here. But if you need room to solve it, put it here. Think about which method is the best method you're going to use. And then just check to see if your answer works. All right? So going through these, what are the ones that I want to talk about more specifically with you that you might get a little stuck on? It's going to be 5 is pretty good. As far as 5 goes, just to make a note, you will have decimal answers on 5. Okay, they're good decimals. It's just money. It's like 50 cents in the decimal. On number 6, you are not going to have a decimal. When you get to number 7, no decimal. When you get to number 8, though, you are going to have a decimal as an answer on both of them. And again, it's just 50 cents in your answer. And then number 9, I didn't give you a box for number 9 because I thought you could just do number 9 right there on the paper, on the yellow paper. Okay? So I just want to go through a few of these with you guys when you're trying to write your equations, because some of them are going to be a little bit more of a challenge. So this is going to join the yellow page. This is going to join it, and together, like they're going to be together 159. All right? So I think the first one I want to talk about with you guys, let me just look through, is, let's start with number 6, okay? So Dylan has some $1 bills and some $5 bills, and he has 6 bills worth $22. So how many bills of each denomination does he have? So when I did number 6, and I was thinking of the purpose, I want to know how many $1 bills does he have and $5 bills. Does he have 3 1s and 2 5s? Does he have, oops, sorry, you can't see that. Does he have 10 1s and 1 5? That's what we're going to figure out. So my variables, so I went with X as $1 bills. And I went with Y as the $5 bills. And it's going to be the number of $1 bills that I have and the number of $5 bills that I have. So I'm going to put a little number symbol, not hashtag, the number of $1 bills and the number of $5 bills. So what are my two equations? So these equations are not as straightforward as some of the other ones. So we know he has some ones and some fives. So he's got a mixture of bills in his hands, and together he has 6 bills. Some of them are fives, some of them are ones. So that's the first equation, is the fact that he has 6 bills. So there are so many ones, and there are so many fives, and when he's done, he has $6. He has 6 bills in his hands. So maybe it's 4 and 2, or 3 and 3, or 5 and 1. The other equation is the fact that he actually has $22 in his hand. So he has so many $1 bills plus so many $5 bills, and then together he has $22. Okay? So if he has one $1 bill and one $5 bills, he's got $1 and $5. That would give him $6. So, you know, maybe it's 4 here and 2 here. I don't know. What else could it be? Or it could be 1 of these and 17 of these, for instance. So this is a good method to use for substitution. You just wanted to either get these both to be 1s or both of these to be 5s. So you want to finish this one, no decimal. Let's see. Let's take a look at number 8, and then I'm going to let you guys try these. And just so you know, the sub has all of the answers. So as you're going and you make your own equations, don't solve it until you have checked with the sub to see if your equations are right, because it's a shame to do all this work with wrong equations. So we know 6 is good. We got the front page done. So after you're done with 5, check with the sub and see if your equations are right. So let's jump to number 8. All right, so supplementary angles add up to 180 degrees, and 2 angles are supplementary. The measure of one angle is 10 degrees more than 3 times the other. That's going to be our doozy of the equation to write. So we're going to find the measure of each angle. So what's our goal? This is number 8. We want to find the measure. Well, you can't see that. Of 2 angles. So I'm going to go back to x and y. I'm going to call x angle 1, and I'm going to call y angle 2. And I want to know how many degrees these are. So the first equation I'm going to get is the fact that supplementary angles add up to 180. And so I have 2 angles that are supplementary. So I have 2 angles that add up to 180. So angle 1 plus angle 2 are 180 degrees. And that one's a pretty simple one. The other one is a little bit more difficult. So one angle is definitely bigger than the other. So what I always do is I take the bigger one, so I'll just call it x, and then I set it equal to everything else. So in order for angle 2, which is y, to catch up, angle 1 is 10 more than 3 times the other. So if I take 3 times y and then add 10, that will be how much angle x is worth. And this is not an easy one. The more you do this, the better you get at it. So as far as which method is best to use here, I would do the substitution because it is not lined up. The x's are lined up, but the plus is lined up with an equal, and the equal is lined up with the plus. So use the substitution. So use the fact that x equals all of this and put it in there. So when you do that, instead of x adding to y, you have 3y plus 10 adding to the y, which equals 180. And then you'll be able to figure out what y is, and then once you get y, you'll be able to figure out what your x is. And just again, on number 8, there wasn't, oh, I'm sorry, I have to take that back. I did say there was a decimal on number 8. So I just didn't write it down. So again, what do you need to do right now? You need to put your warm up in your notebook. This yellow page, which is 159, joins this white page for 159. You are to try to get as much of this done as you possibly can. And again, don't do the math if you haven't checked with the sub for the equations for the other problems that we didn't do in the video. When you're done with that, if you get done with that, I don't know if you'll get done with this, there is just one more page for you to grab. It'll look like this. Okay? And this is just practicing typing the stuff into your calculator. You don't have to analyze any of the equations. It's just getting everything in there. And this will be going on page 157. Okay? So you've got a full period. Ask for help. Work with a partner, but definitely work.